Hey everybody, Josh Wells with M1 Outdoors here. I'm working on a project today I wanted to share with you. I'm making wingbone turkey calls today. It's April 2nd. Regular season, turkey season came in yesterday here in Georgia. Youth season came in last weekend. Micah had the opportunity to kill his first turkey last weekend. I've got the carcass here. Ryan and I went yesterday and killed a turkey on his property, and I got the wings from it right here. I wanted to share with you this wingbone call process because it's pretty neat. You can make a wingbone call for two reasons. One, practically using it to locate turkeys. I'm not crazy about using it to call turkeys. I don't really like the sound of it. I mean, I guess you could use it if you left your calls at home and didn't have a call that you felt comfortable with. It will work, but it's better for locating them. It's real high pitched, but more than that, as a keepsake. Like I said, Micah killed his first turkey last weekend, and I'm gonna make him a wingbone call so he can remember his first turkey by. I'm also gonna make one out of the other wing off of his turkey for the person that took me, Brian, for him to keep. I think that's a pretty cool little keepsake. So I'm gonna share the process with you on making the wingbone calls, but before we get into that, I'm gonna show you the materials you're gonna need. You're gonna need a pocket knife to kind of flesh out the wingbone. You'll need a small pot to boil the wing bones in. You'll need some Dawn dish soap, and you'll need, for later, if you want to turn it white for more of a keepsake, you'll need some peroxide. If you want to leave it kind of the yellowish color, that's fine too. I prefer to bleach it white, make it look better. It's almost white as it is with a little yellow tint to it, so it's not camouflaged already, so why not go ahead and make it pretty. The process is very similar to a video that I did on a European mount for your deer skull. Very similar to that, other than the cleanup's a lot easier and the boiling takes a lot less time. So other materials I've got are, of course, you see I got me a table set up to flesh the wings out on, and if you're like me and you're using your wife's pool patio table while she's away, you're going to need some paper to cover that table up so you don't get blood and feathers all over it. Alright, so to get the wing off, you want to lay your turkey down on his backside so his breast is pointing up, and open his wing up. You get it right in his armpit right here. You can kind of pull the feathers back and find where the wing connects to the breast. There's a ball socket there. You just cut down in there so you can see it, and you want to cut that wing loose right at that ball joint. Just get in there and cut the tendons away. So you just kind of want to do like you do a deer shoulder. Get right in there and start cutting it away so the muscles and all start to cut loose, and you can see that socket's kind of exposing itself. Just cut around there and remove that wing just like that. It's not real hard. Like I said, just think about what you do whenever you take a deer shoulder off. Same thing on this side. Kind of pull that wing up, get the flesh cut loose so you can expose that ball joint right there that you can see. Just cut right down beside that ball joint. Once you get that done, it's just skin. Just cut the skin away, and that's how you remove the wing. Now that we've got the wing removed, what we want to do is remove the feathers. We want to remove the feathers off of the middle wing bone, which is going to serve as your mouthpiece, and the body of the centerpiece of the wing bone call. The wing bone call is going to have three pieces, so we want to remove the feathers, and there's another knuckle up here. We just cut in that knuckle and break the very tip of the wing off right here. There's a lot of different ways to do it. I've seen people do it different ways. I like to take a knife and get right beside the bone and get it started down in that quill, down in the quill of the feathers, and then take me some kitchen shears and just cut it right down. You'll just cut the quill away right beside the bone all the way down. They're pretty tough. Just stay with it, you'll get it. So I've got it cut all the way down, and now I'm going to get on the top side of that wing the tip of it, and you can feel with your finger as a knuckle right there. Just get in there and cut that knuckle, and you can break that wing and break that knuckle off right there, and then just cut the skin away. Just like that. Just like that. It would help to have a sharp knife. My knife isn't extremely sharp. So that's the process of removing that. Now we're just going to skin out. We're going to skin out this the flesh from the meat and the bones, so that all these feathers are gone, and I'll show you what it looks like when we get that done. All right, you can kind of see what you're left with here once you get the flesh, feathers. You can go ahead and get as much meat as you can off. I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect. You're going to cook it, and all the rest of it will come off while you're cooking it. I got Lassie over here begging for some meat, so I'm going to try to get her a little bit from in between here. Lassie, you want some meat, girl? Here you go, baby. Good girl. Just clean this up. I'm going to clean this up just a little bit better. Like I said, it does not have to be perfectly clean before you cook it. All of it's going to cook and come off anyway. And turkey cooks just like chicken. It's going to be white, and it's going to come off really easily. So that's ready for the pot. I'll show you what the cooking process looks like. Alright, I've got the turkey wings cleaned up right there, ready for the water. I just want to run water in the pot. Turkey wings in there. Fill it up pretty good. So it's going to boil for about an hour, hour and a half. And then I'm going to change the water out and boil it a little bit more. So this first round, we're just going to put some dish soap in there. I don't know, just guess, put about 1/8 cup or something like that in there. Can't use too much really. I go to the pot, to the stove. Let's see here. And start off on high, but once it starts boiling, I'll move it. I'll probably cut it down to about, I don't know, 2 or 3, just medium low. Just want it to simmer. You don't want it to boil hard. You want it to simmer just like you do your deer skull. All right, this has been boiling now for about an hour, and I'm just checking it. And it's just, see how the fat is kind of rising to the top, rendering off. It's probably some of the marrow in there, and there wasn't much fat on there, so they're just cooking down nicely. See how it's not even boiling right now. And since I took the top off, I've just got it barely simmering. When I put the top on, it'll start simmering a little bit, so I'll probably let it keep cooking for at least another hour or 2. Alright, this has been boiling now for about 2 hours. And I'm going to add the peroxide. I've already added some. I'd say, alright, that's a quart of 2%. It's either 2% or 3%. I can't tell what it is, but it's either 2 or 3% hydrogen peroxide, and I've probably put 1/3 of that jug in there, which is way plenty. Probably doesn't need quite that much, but that's what I put. So we'll let that boil for another hour. So this is what it looks like after 3 hours. I just took the top off, just turned off the stove top, and you can see how it has turned pretty white and meat's pretty much falling off. I'm going to run to the store and get a few things. In the meantime, I'm just going to let it soak. I may put a little bit more peroxide. I'd like for it to get a little whiter than that. So check back with you in a little bit. All right, I just got back from the store and poured the water off these wing bones, and you can see they look nice and white. They got some stuff on there I got to clean off. I'm gonna clean that off, and in the meantime, I have gotten myself hungry. I'm about to cut up that turkey breast, the one that we didn't cook last weekend. I'm gonna fry that up here in a little bit. Got a little cheap vegetable oil, and I'm gonna cook it in coconut flour. Trying to eat a little bit healthy. Probably put an egg on it before that so that flour sticks, but anyway, that's what we're working on. About to cook some turkey breast, clean up these wing bones, and I'll show you the rest of the process. How to cut them, how to prepare them, how to piece them together. Alright, well, I just got finished cleaning up these wing bones. You can see this is one wing bone, this is the other wing bone, and once I clean the meat off, you can see how in the big part, this is going to be the end, the very end of the caul. Once you cut it across right through the widest part right there. When I dug the meat out, these two big ones, they're still yellow in there, just because there was a big chunk of meat on both of them. Everything else turned out pretty good. They're white, but I'm not satisfied with the way that looks yet. So I'm going to soak them a little bit longer in the peroxide. But you take a look at this. I just noticed that that wing bone's got a shot hole right through it. Look there. See if you can see straight through there like I can. See there? You can see straight through it. Right there. See straight through it. That's not going to be a problem, I don't think. I'm just going to fill it up with some epoxy. Alright, we're cooking. Turkey nuggets looking good. Yeah, real good. Kids wouldn't know the difference between that and Chick-fil-A chicken nuggets if I didn't tell them. We got the soaking going on here in the egg. Got the flour down in here with the coconut flour, egg, coconut flour, and then straight into the grease. Got a little steam going on the camera lens there. Alright. Oh yeah, can't forget about the wing bones back there. They're still soaking too. Alright, you can see here I got the color I'm looking for. The inside part here it was yellow, it's white now. That's about as white as you're gonna get these bones. So I'm gonna show you how you cut them. I'm gonna use this little blue rag here to just keep me from breaking them or cracking them on that vise. I'm just using a hacksaw, and you want these to be as straight as possible, so that when you go to fit them together, they fit nicely. So anywhere you start to see a curve, just cut it where it's straight. So I'm gonna cut it right about in there. The main thing you're looking for when you cut it, you just want it to have a smooth cut. You don't want it to break, crack, and that cut off real smooth. Do the other side. You notice the other side is fairly straight all the way. It doesn't really have a crown to it, so you can cut it pretty much down toward the end. you notice how it's got marrow in it. You can get that out a lot of different ways. The easiest way I've seen to get it out is just put your mouth on it and blow it. Just blow that out. I don't think that was on camera. I didn't want to gross everybody out, but it's clean now. Just pretend like you're blowing spitballs like you used to in elementary school. So that's the small one. And so this is the medium-sized bone. This is the one that first bone will fit into. And you see it's got a real big crown way down here. So we're gonna try to get that. I mean, it starts to curve back here. I'm gonna cut it right there. If we can't get it to fit when we're trying to fit it, then we'll take it back. But I'm gonna cut it right in here for now. And then this one is straight pretty much all the way to the end. I'm gonna cut it right down close to the end. When you feel it start to break, just slow down and take some pressure off of it. Because if you just blast through it, it could splinter that bone at the end, or it might kind of it might splinter off or crack or something like that, and you don't want that. Just blew that part out. You can see how it's clean now. And then we got the big piece. So the big piece, we're going to cut it off back here, right about where that indention is. And then up here, we want it to be as wide as possible. So you can cut it at an angle. I'll probably cut it at an angle to keep it wide up there. It's really up to you what you want it to look like when it's finished. And that's it. You see how it's got all these fibers in there? We're going to get those out later. We're going to eventually make that hollow, but I'm going to cut these others and get those ready, and then we'll look at the next step. Okay, these wing bones have turned as white as I believe they're going to get. They're going to look good when they're done. Got a little bit of work to do to them. We've got to piece together all the different pieces, and really what you want to do is, it's really up to you. I like to piece them together and play with them and see which way they sound the best. They're always going to sound the best if there's a good tight fit, and I like them to follow the crown, the natural crown of the bone. So like with this one, it'll go something like, let me see, yeah, there's something like this when it's together. And this one will just slide right in there like that. So it's just a natural crown, you can see. But I piece them together. You can see I've already got this one pieced together ready to glue up. And I'm gonna show you how you clean them up in just a second, but it already sounds pretty good. I'm no expert on this thing, but just some clucks. And then a yelp. Okay. So anyway, you get the picture. Like I said, I wasn't never caught with this thing, but you probably could locate some with it, get it if you get it working right. All right. So whenever you're getting ready to piece these things together, they've got this. You see how they got the little bit of I don't know, just this wafery looking stuff inside the bone. And it's really this biggest one that's the most trouble. The others are real easy. I take the smallest piece, I just take a piece of clothes hanger and run it down through there to clean it out. And then this next piece, I take a 5/32 chainsaw file and get it all cleaned out like that. And then this one, I take the same chainsaw file and I just start picking at it like that until I get it all worked through. You see how that bottom piece is starting to clean up already. So I work on that. I work on that as good as I can, and then I've got a Dremel. I've got a Dremel that I use to clean out the rest of it, and that's really it. So once you get them pieced together, I'm going to use epoxy to glue these in, and I'll show you how to do that. And then I'm going to take some thread or something to kind of make these joints look better. And then I may take something to finish it. I don't know, like some shellac or something like that, just like a glossy finish. I haven't made my mind up about that yet, but that's what it'll look like before you glue it up. And this one's ready to glue, so I'll show you that process next. All right, now that I've got the pieces put together the way I want them, you see how the bones follow the crown the same way, each piece put together there. What I want to do is I'm just going to mark with a Sharpie each bone so I get them put back together the same way. All I'm trying to do is just mark to get them lined back up the same way whenever because I'm going to have to take them apart now and put the epoxy on them. And what I'm going to use is this, any epoxy will work, but what I'm going to use is what I've got, and I got JB Weld. So I'm going to get that mixed up and I'll show you how that goes on. All right, just going to mix up this JB Weld. I'm going to try to get equal parts of the hardener and the epoxy. That's a gracious plenty. Looks about right. Alright, so I'm going to mix that up, get it nice and even. It'll turn gray. This JB Weld will turn gray when it's right. Alright, that's about right there. And to make it easy to work with and to keep it fairly clean, I'm going to transfer it over into the Ziploc bag and make a little I don't even know what you call it. It just gives it a way to keep it halfway contained and squirt it down into those cracks and stuff in the bone. Golly, this stuff makes a mess. See, that's why you want to keep it contained the best you can. You can see what kind of mess it's making already. Just leave a little bit of that open right there, because as I squeeze this down, it's going to need somewhere for the air to work out. I'm just going to try to work it down into the corner of this bag here. Go ahead and cut this hole right here in the bag. Try to keep the hole pretty small. It'll make it easier to work with. And just want to twist that bag, work that stuff down to the corner of it. Just like that. See how I got it about ready to come out? Alright, so now I'm going to take the wing bone. See how I got it marked? Right there and right there.
I'm gonna just take that wing bone apart. And I'm gonna glue it together. Put a little bit of glue. Put a little bit of epoxy around the edges of this thing and get it in there, and then I'm gonna backfill it. All right, you see how I got those dots lined up? Now I'm gonna use this bag. Use this bag to backfill it. Just squeeze it in there. Get that hole filled up right there. Just like that. I got a damp rag. I'm just gonna clean it off a little bit. Go around there. Just clean it off a little bit with that damp rag. Take your finger, smooth it out, just like that. And that one's done. That part of it. We'll do the same thing with the small piece here. A little epoxy around the edges there. Because the sound of this thing is going to be better the tighter it is. It's going to be easier to blow air through there. See, that's pretty good. That's pretty good just by inserting it. I'm gonna take my finger and wipe some of the excess off. So there you go. So this one's glued up. Whenever that dries, we'll let it dry for about 24 hours. When it dries, I'll take some sandpaper and I'll sand around these edges to get the well, to sand the marker markings off, and to sand a little bit extra of this JB weld off, and then we'll finish it up. So that's the glue up process. All right, now I'm ready to finish this thing off, this wing bone off. I've got black thread. You can use anything really. I'm just wanting to smooth this out. I guess if you wanted to, you could take some more the epoxy, the JB weld. You could let it thicken up and you could smooth it with that, kind of like you would clay. I don't want to do that. I think this makes it a smoother looking finish to take the thread, and I'm gonna take that tag in and just wrap over it to get started here. And that bone, these wing bones are a little longer than they needed to be, and you can see how that string is, that thread is grabbing a hold of it. So I'm gonna just get a few wraps right there to get it started. And then I'm gonna add some of this glue. I'm just put some right there on both. I'm gonna put some on both sides. And then I'm just gonna continue to wrap the thread around it. And you'll wrap and wrap and wrap until you get it built up the way you want it. All right, I've got this one wrapped as good as I'm going to do it. And so I'm going to just hold that tag in. See if you can see it. Well, you can't really see it because of my shirt, but see that tag in. I'm going to hold it with my thumb like that. and I'm just going to apply some more glue. I'm going to get it good and saturated so that glue can soak down into that thread really good, and it's just going to make it harden up, and it'll give it this glue. I'd never have used this clear Gorilla Glue, but I like it. I wasn't sure if it was going to harden up good enough, but it does, and it finishes with a kind of a glossy finish, so it looks sort of like epoxy, resin, something like that. See how I got it saturated? That thread is going to try to spin off a little bit because this glue, it hardens slow. It's not super sticky, so I'm just going to lay it down so that the thread doesn't spin around too much. And so you can see how that thread is lifting a little bit. It'll dry right there. When it dries, you take some scissors or a knife and just cut the tag end off, and then I'm going to apply some more glue to finish it once it dries right there, and then I'll finish that side. All right, so here's the finished product. You can see how that epoxy dried up nicely. It's got a little bit of a shine to it. It hardens that thread and binds it in place, and so this one's finished. I'm gonna put this on display in a little display case that I made for Micah's first turkey. I'll show you what I made yesterday in just a minute, but I'm not an expert on using this thing, but I'm gonna give it a go. Not too bad. That'll at least get the turkey to gobble.